Hello, good morning, and welcome to this Dawn Busters Taste Challenge. uh, well, here we are, April 2nd, 2020, and we're looking at it's a cool morning. It's a dry morning. It's cool and dry. And we're looking at James Foxe, Canadian blended whiskey, introduced in 1975 by Seagrams, sold to Sazerac Company in 1989. There's the Fox. The competitor is Canadian Hunter, introduced by Seagrams in 1984, sold to Sazerac in 1989, just 5 years later. Formerly Seagram's Canadian Hunter. There's the famous bullet, bottom of the bullet cartridge. It's a whiskey made for people who go hunting with huskies in Canada. A Canadian whiskey with natural flavors. Bottle, let's see, what does it say? 40% alcohol by volume. Yeah, well, yeah, they're almost. And you notice it's got that ancient age bottle. McAfee's #8 bourbon whiskey bottle. Same little bottle with that Jack Daniel's knockoff bottle is what it is. I saw an old standard bottle at International Market, and it said Seagram's Canadian Hunter. It was covered with dust. The label was in pretty good shape, so I knew I could come home and put some soap and warm water on it real gently and let it dry, and it would just be pristine. But I didn't get it. But it would be interesting to see if the taste was different back then, 30 years ago, but 33 years ago, whatever, however old the bottle is. But I mean, it wouldn't really be much point to it because you can't get it now. I mean, I'm gonna do taste challenges, and then people say, "Well, I'd like to try it, but you can't get it." So I didn't buy it, but it was only $8.99. So I could be tempted maybe if it's still there. I don't know. I can't figure it out. I see Canadian Hunter all around here. Mathern's has this bottle, and I think they have it for I don't know, $9.99, $10.99. But then you get the big handle bottle, the big plastic bottle. It's much cheaper. You know, it's like $15.99. So it's a much better value per ounce. And then Mathern's has these. It's a different label. It's a camouflage label, like it's a camouflage covering. Like if you're hunting, I don't know if that cover comes off. It might be where you can remove it and put it back on or something. I don't know. They always try new and exciting things. James Foxe, no, I've never seen this sold anywhere in this parish. I've never seen it sold except at two places. Discount Depot in the little 375 milliliter plastic bottles, and at Broadway Liquor on the East Bank. Discount Depot's on the West Bank. At Broadway for $8.99 for this liter. So it's not well known around here, or even reasonably available. Now, where you live, you might say, "Well, I live in Boise, Idaho, and it's everywhere." And that could be the case. Just saying, here it's an outlier, but at least I found it. I was happy. And who gave me the location to find it? Sazerac. I called the company and I said, "Do you have James Foxe?" The guy says, "Hold on." Yep. And he tells me where to go. I went there. There it was. So yes, yes, yes. They are helpful. So let's get this going. Wipe the drip off of that. It's going to be a challenge, and it's going to be a basically worthless challenge because these are so similar that there's almost no point to this. And like I warned 2 days ago, I said it's probably best not to even watch the thing because it's no purpose to it aside from doing it. You understand? It's like basketball. Remember they used to have basketball in the United States back in the old days before the United Socialist America, but they They would have basketball tournaments, right? Well, some teams were playing in there. You know, it might be like Chicago State, who had 3 wins against maybe Oral Roberts University. And, you know, Chicago State had no chance of winning. Oh, it wouldn't have been against Oral Roberts, against like University of Texas, Rio Grande Valley. Maybe they had 10 wins. Neither one of them's going anywhere, but you know Chicago State's not going to beat them. And you say, well, I'm just watching it because it's on. And they're kind of even because they're both kind of poor teams. So it might be a competitive game, but there's really no big difference between the two. And that's how this is. So there's a point that it just, you do it because it exists. But other than that, there's no real point. But that was back in the old days when they used to have sports in the United States for the, like I said, the National Socialism. But anyway, 2 gold Canadian whiskeys, and they're both Canadian whiskey with natural flavor. They're both bottled at Buffalo Trace in Frankfort, Kentucky. Or they use the real name here. They use the actual name. It says Sazerac. Bottled by Sazerac Company, Frankfort, Kentucky. You know, Buffalo Trace is just sort of like the nice sounding name. You know, back in 1992, after they bought it, Sazerac bought that distillery. It was called, I think, Shinley Industries Distillery. And they were saying, that doesn't sound so nice. Shinley Industries Distillery. And so they come up with this name. Legend has it that buffalo used to roam along a trail here by the Kentucky River. So now we're going to call it Buffalo Trace. And what evidence do you have that that was a buffalo trail? Well, it's been said, but it does sound better. And they came out with the new bourbon, Buffalo Trace Bourbon. See, so there you go. But it's all under the Sazerac umbrella. And it's a big umbrella. Ella, Ella, Ella. Hey, hey. So look now, it's like Diageo is so huge. They have so many different departments and compartments. And with Pernod Ricard, so many departments and compartments. And Anheuser-Busch InBev and Molson Coors and E&J Gallo. It just keeps, it's just bigger and bigger. Okay. Prediction. I don't think I'll be able to tell them apart. Prediction. I think they'll taste essentially the same. Prediction. Don't say I didn't warn you, because I told you already what was going to happen. It will be dark when I finish because it's daylight saving time. It's not really 5:37. It's really 4:37. So I couldn't get to sleep last night because it was too early. My clock said it's time to go to sleep. My body said, this is made up time. You say, you mean the government controls time? They control you. So why not control time? Why not control reality, right? You say, well, I'm willing to trade my freedom for safety. Good. You'll wind up neither free nor safe. But anyway, slaves, let's go on. Let's go on, clones. Clones of the slave planet. But on a positive note, it doesn't smell too bad. Well, yeah. It smells like corn. You say corn? You must have just eaten grits. I did. I ate some Quaker white hominy grits. It's the truth. With the hog said cheese in it. And the Valentina hot sauce. And the black pepper. And the FBI. All right. Corn. That's what you get. But remarkably, no strong plum wine or white rum or sherry wine or the flavorings thing. So really, this has just more of a, honestly, like you might say, well, that's Crown Royal. I've had Crown Royal. I knew Crown Royal. I worked with Crown Royal. Senator, you know Crown Royal. You know what I'm saying? Like you might be. So, okay, a little more standard. Brandon Norwood says, good morning. Good morning to you, Brandon. Thanks for watching, viewers. All right. This one too. So it's strange. 2 days ago, I was getting the aromas of the flavoring, like, whoa, it's hitting me like a bunch of flavoring. But this morning it isn't. Okay. You say, well, you ate the grits and that got corn in your mind. And so now your senses, your hearing, your seeing, your smelling, your tasting, your touch, well, you wouldn't be able to perceive it that way, is registering maize, corn. And that's why, yeah, it could be that. Let's go with the taste, shall we? Yes. Okay. Now the flavoring is here. The flavoring is here. You're a slave to fear. I would say sherry, like cream sherry, but then my mind would say wrong. It's plum wine. But the reality is I don't know, and I'll never know. You know what I'm saying? Like they're not going to say what they use. You're not going to get a divorce. She'll never give him a divorce. She'll kill him, but she'll never get. All right, so no, you're just not going to know, but you can make estimates of it. But then that flavor is familiar. You say, I know that Sazerac Canadian whiskey flavoring. You know the plum wine, the sherry is a white rum. You don't know what it is. Is it almond extract, as John Anile described? You don't know, but you know that flavor that you don't know what it is. You know what I'm saying? The unknown flavor becomes familiar. And then you say, only Sazerac Canadian whiskeys taste this way. Yeah. It's so comical. They're all, I'm really starting to believe what I already believed. You know what I'm saying? I just didn't want to, I wanted to pretend like I didn't believe it. You say, what do you mean, Captain? Obvious. What do you mean, Mr. Powers? You know what I mean. That it's all the same whiskey with different bottle designs and labels. They just make a run. Do Caliber. Stop. Do Canadian Hunter. Stop. Do what's it? James Foxe. No. Stop. Makes you wonder. And I know with liquor it doesn't change so much, but if you get on Sazerac website and you look at their product specifications, they don't tell you anything about the liquor, like nothing. Unless they have some brand websites like Cane Run, they have a brand website, Buffalo Trace. Okay. But these things here, they're like common run-of-the-mill stuff. They don't tell you nothing. But they do have a nutritional lineup. And you'll notice that the specs, calories, grams of fat, all of that is suspiciously identical. Now, if you want to try a Canadian Hunter that's different, try the Canadian Hunter Rye. It's 90 proof. It's higher alcohol. Can't find it around here. I saw little bottles of it. Hunter Rye, different, same label, the guy hunting, but it's different shade. It's like gray and black instead of the color. Oh, we really liked it, but you'd have to be able to tolerate rye. It's got a higher peppery thing, so you might like it. Then on the other hand, you might hate it. We drank it so fast. I mean, it was just 2 little bottles, and we just like. I mean, you say, "Oh, y'all got drunk." Well, how you gonna get drunk off 2 little sample bottles? There was no point. I mean, what was the point of keeping that around? I mean, they're smooth, they're nice, mild, mellow, easygoing. You could probably add ice to it, be better, maybe. What kind of mixed drinks would you make? I don't know. I don't know anything about cocktails using Canadian whiskey. You say there's probably websites dedicated to that. They probably are websites dedicated to that. And it's probably very complicated. And you could make a hobby out of just that. You know what I'm saying? You could have a video review channel, a YouTube channel based just on making cocktails with Canadian whiskey. You'd never run out. You'd never run out of ideas, and you'd probably get a lot of viewers. You know, it's so complicated. You know what I'm saying? Like the opportunities are so huge for that. You just wouldn't. I mean, you could make a video channel just doing Canadian whiskey. You'd never run out of. Just wouldn't run out. Even with the National Socialism, capitalist, communist government structure that we have now, there's still opportunities to buy a lot of products, at least now. But even if they don't allow that in the future, there'll be the black market. Free enterprise always wins anyway. The hidden hand will win. Empires are always destroyed. So you could find it, you know, and do the videos. You say, well, they'll confiscate videos. But other things will come about. You know, they can't stop. They just be like they're trying to hold water in their hand. These gangsters, you know, they can't win. Now, you say, oh, you're calling all the government people gangsters. I'm not actually calling them gangsters. Most of them probably mean well, and they're scared, very fearful people, not the brightest people in the world, and don't know what to do. So their default reaction is force, you know, use of force, because that's all they know. The gangsters are the ones that do know, and they're not thinking, oh no, an emergency. Their attitude is, oh yes, an emergency. Whoa! You know, the ones, you know, the conspiratorial ones. You know, they're like the witch in the Wizard of Oz. 400,000 deaths. My pretty. Whoa. You know, those, you say they're not in our government. They're in every level of government. What are you talking about? You say, well, they must worship the devil. They probably do. Jesus said they're of their father, the devil. Why wouldn't? So you just got to keep the right idea. You got to, you say, well, I can't tell what kind of tree it is. You can tell what kind of tree. You know a tree by its fruit. By its fruit. It's fruit. I have a Japanese plum tree. How do I know that? Well, Japanese plums come out on it. I don't like fruit too much, so I've only been eating a small percentage of it. It's very sweet. If I see apples, I'll presume it's an apple tree. So if I see people doing evil, then I would presume they're evil, you know. That's how you judge, by the fruit. You say, God taught us that, didn't he? Yes. Cheap blended whiskey, like the light beer product, the answer is always shop price. The synagogue of Satan, yes, yes. And they're in full bloom right now. They're thinking, we've won. We've won. Ah, this is it. Red star over the world. But remember, the Bible says Lucifer was deceived by his own brightness, corrupted, became insane by his own. You see, so they're thinking, this is the empire we have built. I am a virgin. I am a queen and have no limits. I am the queen of Babylon. You know what they're saying? I have built this tower to heaven. But then everyone is fearful here. Oh, cowering in fear, fear, fear. Then you say, oh, look, behold, there's a stone coming down from outer space, seemingly. This little stone, never cut by hand. Man did not cut that stone. It's perfectly polished and just spinning. You know, what kind of sound it would make. Not in space, I guess. And then it hits, and the edifice is crushed and ground to powder. That's right. Jesus said, I beheld Satan fall as lightning from the sky. So don't be deceived by these international and national socialist sick maniacs. The worst they can do is kill you. That's all they can do. If you have fear if you realize you're only a pilgrim here, then you don't have to have fear. But if you think you came out of the sea as a worm and you walked upon the land, and then when you die, you'll become nothing, and all you are now is matter in motion, as our communist people tell us, then you should be fearful because you have no hope. But the reality is you didn't have any hope before all of this foolishness, because you were simply matter in motion. But if you're a pilgrim here, you have no fear. So we can relax and do these whiskey taste challenges. Okay, it's frivolous, it's trivial, but it was trivial all along, you see. People knew that before all of this foolishness, that whiskey taste challenges were trivial. They have no real meaning. It's entertainment. It should not be taken seriously. The same versus the same. I'm telling you, believe it or not, these taste like the same thing twice. Is that a bad thing? Is that an indictment? Is that an attack? Is that it's none of those things. It's just not different. And like JBD is saying, shop price, shop price, shop price, shop price. And when you finish doing that, then shop price. That's the only consideration. In my case, it wouldn't even matter because I can't get the darn James Foxe. So I would just get Hunter. I can get Canadian Hunter very easily. All right. Very easily. Would I buy it again? In theory, I would. If I was a whiskey drinker, which I'm not. You say you do whiskey taste challenges all the time. Yeah, because I'm doing taste challenges. I don't come home from work and say, I'm going to drink some whiskey. Wrong. You say, well, Malter. Okay. You say, well, Walter and Maud did. They always had mixed drinks when they got home from Walter from the appliance store and Maud from, well, she was home all the time. Well, that's them. You want to go hang out with Walter and Maud, drink mixed drink. I don't, but I like to taste them and see what's different one from the other. And so in this case, it's a even Steven, no differentiation. The price is the same anyway for these two. And so my only qualification would be availability, which is clearly Canadian Hunter. So there you go. There's the summation. Or as Blue Oyster Cult said, the nexus of the crisis. And you want to know where winds come from. All right. Fear is a terrific weapon. Scared people are easy to control, says Joe Biden's dentist. Fear is a great weapon. And it's interesting because they tried to use the weapon in the 1970s, fear of cold. We're going to have an ice age. People laugh that off. So then they say, well, we're going to run out of oil by 1980 or whatever they said. Year 2000, there'd be no more oil, peak oil. But then that became so obviously ridiculous when there's oil galore, like they were telling you it was the last of the Mohicans. No more Mohicans. The Mohicans are gone. And then you found out he's not the last of the Mohicans. There's Mohicans galore. So they made a sequel and it was called Mohicans Galore. And so the oil, it's oil all over the place. These people are lying liars who lie. So they say, well, forget. So then the word came down from them. They say, well, never mind that. The world's going to burn up from heat. It's going to be heat everywhere and everybody's going to die from heat. So that's the fear. But then people start saying, I don't see that happening. That's a bunch of bunk. That's poppycock, as they used to say in the 1890s. So then they say, well, it's not climate heating, it's climate change. You say, what does that mean, climate change? Well, it can mean anything. Anytime I want to use the term, it means anything. It's more a malleable term. But it's going to change, meaning you're going to die. So you need to be a slave to the government. You say, oh, okay. But then that wasn't even really working. People say, well, I don't care about climate change. That's a chimera. I'm not even worried about Bigfoot. So they say, oh, yeah, well, now this. The goblin, the hobgoblin. Oh, that worked. Now that was the one. So they said, we got it. We got them where we want them, those slaves, those dwarf slaves. The hobgoblin, that's the key. That's the ticket. Yeah, that's the ticket, like in the old skit. Yeah, you're going to die. And then the slaves say, oh, yes, sir. Whatever you want me to do, I'm going to do it. Yes, sir. Whatever. I'll go wherever you want me to go. Yes, sir. No, I don't want to die from the hobgoblin. So it worked. That's amazing. All right. For me, the more I learn about beer and whiskey, the more appreciation I have. I love picking out different flavors, even with the cheap ones. Brandon says, I'm the same way. Same way. As we learned, as we've been learning, it doesn't really matter. Low shelf, bottom shelf, middle shelf, high shelf, it still can be an adventure because they have various flavors. And then sometimes they don't have various flavors like these two. It's like same thing twice. No problem. You say, well, I don't want to join your movement because I got some friends and they're extreme beer snobs. And they told me that if I said that, they're going to make fun of me and not let me be in their group no more. Yes, the beer snobs will do that. They'll say, hey, let me tell you something right now. This is the way it's going to be. And you will not drink any products that I do not approve of. So then you got to knuckle under, You are not going to drink Canadian Hunter. We cannot have this deviationist thinking. Mao Zedong taught us that. We cannot tolerate deviationists. You say, well, they would publicly shame them in China. Yeah, they would. And they'd actually throw them out of a 3-story building and kill them for being capitalist running dog lackeys, which is probably going to happen here for these COVIDiots. Exactly. Global warming became climate change, which is an utterly meaningless term. Yes, it was a very helpful term because you want something more malleable. If it gets cold, it's because of climate change. If it gets hot, it's because of climate change. If the weather is moderate and pleasant, it's because of climate change. So you can use, and it's easy to do these things, JBD, because you're dealing with morons. When you're dealing with people that are generally stupid, you can do a lot of stuff, Remember, about 80 years ago, Americans thought Germany was going to invade South Carolina. People driving around in the dark at night in a truck, driving around in the dark because they thought Germany was going to bomb New York City. Of course, they couldn't even get across the 28-mile channel to invade England. Yet somehow they were going to invade Maryland. Strange. So this is not the first time the whole country has been duped by idiocy. This is the level of thinking that we're dealing with. I talk to people at baseball. Remember, they used to have baseball in America. They used to have that. People would go to games and whatnot. But they would tell me, and you laugh. You say, this is a laugh. It is a laugh in a sad way. They would say, man, I'll tell you one thing. If Japan, and I'm not actually mocking the people because that's how I'm literally imitating the person. And I like this person. He has a good heart. He says, man, I'll tell you one thing. If Japan would have invaded the United States after Pearl Harbor, they would have lost because everybody had guns and they'd have shot them. I said, well, really, it's a little more complicated than that because you can't invade an entire country like the 3rd largest country in the world that has 10 times your population and 10 times your wealth. You can't really invade that country unless you have the capability to do so. I said, and you have to consider the fact that Japan had literally no capability to do such a thing. They couldn't even beat China in 7 years, a country that was basically in the Stone Age. And they all looked at me at the game like literally people looking at me like, what are you talking about? Because the people got guns and they could shoot them. I was like, right. Well, I got to get back to planet Earth now. So I'm not trying to be ugly or sarcastic, but that's the mentality. So how can you deal with a mentality like that? You can't. You cannot. You can't. You just have to cope with it. You can't deal with it or reason with it. You only can cope with it. I'm looking at people on Facebook right now. They got kids playing at the playground because of the virus. They got kids playing at the playground. I'm calling the cops. I'm like, Land of the free, wrong. Home of the brave, definitely wrong. All right, well, anyway, sorry to give you that reality check, you know. It's funny how that works. All right. Oh, well, for the sake of the tournament, I'm not even going to take a guess. I can't tell. I can't tell. I can't tell. They taste the same to me. I'm not even going to say, because it's a 50-50 shot. It's like flipping a coin. I could call heads and get heads and say, oh, look, I got it. I'm such an expert. No, that's not fair. It's stupid. I don't know. I don't know. Oh, okay. Canadian Hunter. All right. Well, I didn't know. I mean, this one is James Foxe. All right. It literally tastes identical. And I'm not joking. All right. Well, that's it. So much for that. Now, what's coming up in 2 days? Hey, you want to watch the same video again? Because that's what it's going to be. Oh, wait a minute. Retraction, major retraction. Sorry, priority alert. That it's going to be Seagram's VO Gold from 1998. Oh yeah, no, that's not going to taste anything like the James Foxe. That'll be a definite taste challenge, and Seagram's will kill it. Assuming you like the woodiness compared to the flavoring, so that would be a personal preference thing. But yeah, it would be there's no way I can confuse those. That's an impossibility. It cannot happen. Thanks for watching this video production.